In this explainer, we're not just looking at standard biology. We're actually diving in to uncover the hidden operating system that governs human life. I want you to think of the human body as the most sophisticated machine in the universe. For decades, we understood the basics, right? How it moves, how it breathes, how the heart pumps blood. But the brain, the literal master controller of this entire operation, kept a massive, massive secret about how it actually maintains itself. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain and reveal the invisible biological forces that are actively shaping your aging, your cognition, and your overall longevity.
So let's start with a really fundamental question. What actually happens inside your skull when you lose consciousness? For the longest time, we just viewed sleep as this passive state of rest, a time when the body simply powers down for the night. But what if I told you that sleep is absolutely not a passive shutdown? Instead, it's an aggressive, highly active biological deep clean. When you lose consciousness tonight, your brain is going to initiate a highly coordinated, pressurized wash cycle that is literally critical to your survival.
And this brings us to a central mystery. And get this, it was only just discovered back in 2012. Now, we've known for a long time that the rest of the body uses the lymphatic system to clear out waste. But the brain, because it's locked inside the rigid, sealed vault of the skull, doesn't actually have those traditional vessels. Instead, it has its own unique setup, the glymphatic system. It's this hidden, brain-wide plumbing network that acts as a macroscopic waste clearance system. Essentially, it uses the empty spaces around your blood vessels as a low-resistance highway to physically flush out neurotoxic metabolites.
What's truly fascinating here is just how physical, how mechanical this biological process actually is. Your very heartbeat, specifically the arterial pulsation, provides the physical driving force for this entire system. With every single beat of your heart, cerebrospinal fluid is driven deep into your brain tissue. It washes right through, exchanging with the interstitial fluid that's bathing your brain cells, picking up all that daily metabolic trash, and then finally flushing it out through the spaces around your veins. It's literally a continuous pressurized wash of your mind.
Okay, but you might be wondering, how does this fluid actually cross over from the outside of the blood vessels into the incredibly dense, tightly packed tissue of the brain itself? Let's peel back another layer and look at the deep mechanism. We literally have to zoom all the way down to the microscopic cellular level to see the true gatekeepers of this whole operation. Enter aquaporin 4. These are specialized water channels, and they're located on the end feet of astrocytes, which are a specific type of support cell in your brain. Honestly, the best way to think of these AQP4 channels is like tiny microscopic fire hydrants that are strategically placed all along the blood vessels in your brain. They're highly polarized. That means they act as unidirectional valves, specifically regulating the intense flow of the brain's cleaning fluid. They literally dictate exactly where and exactly how fast the fluid can wash through the tissue. So the absolute crucial point is this. What happens when this incredibly delicate microscopic architecture begins to break down? Because as we know, biology influences aging, and aging influences the entire trajectory of a human life. When this system fails, it's not just a matter of waking up feeling a bit groggy. We are actually triggering a biological catastrophe. This breakdown is what triggers the cascade of aging. As we get older, those AQP4 fire hydrants start to lose their specific positioning. They lose their polarization. And without those valves perfectly directing traffic, the fluid flow slows down. It stagnates. And when that fluid stagnates, toxic proteins like amyloid beta and tau, which are the exact proteins heavily implicated in Alzheimer's disease, well, they begin to accumulate. In fact, a failing lymphatic system is now viewed by scientists as a major, common final pathway to dementia and serious neurodegeneration. But hold on, because here is the most empowering revelation of this entire explainer. This system, it doesn't just run on autopilot all the time. It is highly state-dependent. There's actually a behavioral trigger, a master switch, if you will, that turns this biological deep clean on and off. See, during wakefulness, your brain has a very high noradrenergic tone. That means chemicals like norepinephrine are actively keeping you alert and focused. But that same alertness creates a high physical resistance. Your brain cells are literally swollen, which severely restricts fluid flow. But in slow-wave sleep, the magic happens. Norepinephrine plummets. The blood vessels completely relax. The physical resistance drops off a cliff. The master switch is flipped, and massive, massive fluid exchange occurs. 60%. I really want you to just pause and think about the sheer scale of that number. During deep sleep, the actual physical space between your brain cells literally expands by 60%. Your brain cells shrink down to allow a literal flood of cerebrospinal fluid to rush in and wash everything out. It is a profound structural metamorphosis, and it's happening inside your skull every single night. But keep in mind, this clearance requires way more than just, logging hours in bed. It specifically requires your brain to reach stage 3 NREM, or slow-wave sleep. During this incredibly deep stage, your brain generates these highly rhythmic, pulsing electrical waveforms that actually sync up with your cardiovascular system to literally pump that fluid deep into the tissue. And it works perfectly in tandem with a process called autophagy. Think of it this way. Autophagy cleans the inside of your cells, while the glymphatic system washes the outside. Together, they form your brain's ultimate, impenetrable defense mechanism. All right, so we've looked at the microscopic mechanisms, we've looked at the brain waves, but let's connect all this hidden biology to an everyday macro behavior that you have complete control over right now. Let's talk about the physical forces of the universe, specifically gravity, and how it literally dictates your brain health. MRI imaging of the sleeping brain has revealed a hierarchy of efficiency that is probably going to change how you look at your own habits forever. The lateral or side sleeping position, that provides maximum efficiency. Gravity perfectly optimizes your venous drainage and allows for much stronger perivascular pulsations. Now, sleeping supine, flat on your back, is moderate. It's great for your spine, sure, but you get reduced convective pressure up in the brain. And prone or stomach sleeping, that offers the absolute minimum efficiency. Twisting your neck compresses those crucial drainage pathways and actually slows down the clearance of all those brain toxins. So the mind-blowing part is that our everyday human behavior often masks a much deeper biological brilliance. Roughly 60% of adults naturally prefer side sleeping. And for the longest time, we just assumed this was a comfort thing. But researchers now believe this is actually a hardwired evolutionary adaptation. We evolved to sleep on our sides specifically to optimize the clearance of metabolic waste from our brains. That instinct you have to roll over in the middle of the night, that is literally your brain trying to protect itself. But to really leverage this evolutionary advantage, you need the right environment. Think of this as your personal operating manual. Because side sleeping concentrates all your body weight right on your shoulders and hips, your mattress has to allow them to sink just enough to keep your spine perfectly straight. If your mattress forces your spine to bend or kink, you're compromising the structural alignment you need for that optimal fluid flow. On top of that, science suggests that a slight head elevation, we're talking maybe 10 to 20 degrees, ideally using an adjustable base rather than just jacking up your neck with a stack of pillows, can use gravity to further enhance that venous drainage and glymphatic clearance. We started this by uncovering a completely hidden plumbing network inside your skull, and we've traced that biology all the way up to the firmness of your mattress and the angle of your pillow. Every single system is connected. Sleep influences fluid flow clears out toxic proteins. Clearing those proteins prevents neurodegeneration, and all of this ultimately shapes the entire trajectory of your life. So, knowing that the physical posture you take tonight directly dictates how your brain ages tomorrow, how will you choose to sleep?